Story 1. When I look in the mirror every morning and see my gray hairs and wrinkles, I know I earned all of them with a life worth living. Story 2. Physically, my nose. Otherwise, I think I am pretty selfless. I do not know if I would call that beautiful, but I think it is a good quality. Story 3. I have one of the rarest eye colors in the world. Gray. Not blue with a grayish hue. I have gold flecks around the pupil, dark outer edges on my irises, and the irises themselves shift between different shades of blue and green, sometimes even hazel in the right light. Rarely, they are actually gray. Story 4. Physically, I am going to have to go with my hair and eyes. Otherwise, I enjoy helping people without expecting anything in return. It has led to being surprised multiple times. Story 5. Superficial scars that I have gotten from my cat accidentally scratching me will be something I remember him by. A free tattoo. Story 6. My stretch marks remind me of my 30-kilogram weight loss and how good I am feeling in my new body. I also think they look really cool. Story 7. The fact that anytime depression tries to get back into my life, I just say, forget you depression, and move on. It's an acquired skill. Story 8. I am often told by random people and therapists I meet outside of therapy that I should be a therapist. I suppose this is because of my ability to listen, care about others, and provide support. Story 9. You cannot convince me my broad conical nose is not better than a TikTok or Instagram filter nose. I am sorry. Story 10. I constantly receive compliments about my voice, and I have been asked several times if I am a voice actor. However, I am a singer, but that is on the exterior side of things. Story 11. When I meditate and really get into a trance, I go to my inner world. It's a bit like active dreaming, but it's a beautiful place. Picture an endless desert of blue sand. The wind is constant, soft, and cool. It's always nighttime. As I walk, every negative thought and memory of mine pops up from the sand as a tree. Jagged, black, twisted, and ugly. In their leaves, I see all my wrongs and faults. My anger issues, the old me who preferred the taste of a bottle of rum over my wife's lips, the abuse I suffered at the hands of my old landlord, the time I killed a goose when I was 13. Whatever the tree, I cut it down with a touch. I am no longer that man, so those trees must die. Every now and then, good thoughts and memories appear. Oases of soft white grass and clear water. I drink the water and see all the wonderful things in my life. The smiles of my children, the time I went skydiving, scenes of my wife as she tempts me with a wink and the slow rays of her sundress. Eventually, the oasis dries up. The water becomes tasteless. The white grass twists into many hundreds of hands, propping me up and letting me know that I must move on. There's more to see here. They push me along with the gentleness of my old nanny. She died long ago, but maybe she's waiting for me at the next oasis. Sometimes I see the center of the desert, a large mountain I've come to call master. I don't need to climb. The grass has been waiting for me. I lay down, and every ivory blade twists into gentle hands that grab and carry me to the summit where master awaits. He is a man dressed in gray. His skin is covered in precious stones, but his eyes shine with a piercing blue light. He smokes from an ivory pipe the length of a child's arm. I sit in front of him and he asks me questions. What did you see in the trees? What did you see in the water? He tells me how I can improve myself and what the memories mean. After our long talk, he points behind me. It's time to wake up. Story 12. People always compliment my jawline. They say my face has a boxy shape and it is attractive. Many have also complimented my hair. Story 13. I have 4 freckles on my face, 1 on each corner of my mouth. I like the way they frame my lips on all corners. Story 14. I am really just taking my sister's word for it, of all people, but I think I have nice calves. Not that it has done me a whole lot of good. Story 15. Boys think I am pretty, but I think I am ugly. I work at AutoZone. They come just to check me out, even when they do not need to buy something just for my looks. Story 16. My spirit. I have this deep ancestral presence about myself. It gives me a lot of wisdom and guides me often. Those who need it most sense it too. Story 17. I think with my heart because my intentions are always good. I want good for others. I love others. I believe in kindness. I am always trying to see the positive side and help people see it too. Story 18. My efforts to grow around and through my trauma and try to become better than my former self every day. Story 19. My Christ-like humility. It is the attribute I am most proud of. Some people would say I am a smart aleck and I have no idea why. Story 20. I like my indifference. I like that I have never fallen in love or fallen under the societal expectations of having children or getting married. I really love animals and art though. Story 21. I am a very caring person, and my elementary students easily connect with me because they know I care about them. My green eyes are also nice. Story 22. My sister sent me a highly sensitive person online quiz. I scored very high on the empathy scale but 0 on the sensory intake scale, which aligns with my personal experience. I am fine in crowds, loud movies, concerts, and similar environments, but I weep from the heart at sad movies, donate to animal support groups from my meager savings, and was very trusting in romantic relationships when I was younger. I feel this quality made me a better mother and advocate for domestic violence victims when I worked in my local prosecutor's office for 17 years. The thoughtful consideration I have given others in my life feels kind of beautiful. Story 23. I enjoy life because we only have one chance. My outgoing personality helps me meet people. I am a mellow person who would love to meet someone like me. Enjoy life and all it has to offer. Story 24. I have a lot of empathy for everyone and everything. I picked up a bug from my bathroom sink today on a cotton round and took it downstairs and outside. I probably thought it was having a magic carpet ride to sweet outdoor freedom, likely telling all its bug friends about it right now. Story 25. My resilience to hardships. I try to maintain a neutral and optimistic outlook when facing struggles. Where there is a will, there is a way. Story 26. People seem to be most attracted to my accent, height, knowledge, maturity, and athleticism. Personally, I find my ability to lie the most remarkable quality. When you are a naturally skilled liar, it feels almost like a superpower. I find that attractive. Story 27. I love my eyes. They are very unique. Character-wise, I have a lot of empathy and I am able to resolve conflicts or help people in difficult situations, even if I cannot physically understand their point. I try my best to see what they need and provide that. This helps a lot when I work with children occasionally. I remove myself from situations and conflicts if I realize I am getting too worked up to help someone. Story 28. Not to be morbid, but I will die and nothing I say or do will matter in a century unless I have children with a rare genetic condition and disrupt the bloodline. So, that is all the more reason for me to live or start to. Story 29. I have survived so much. I am a survivor. I am still working on living and thriving, but I am a survivor nonetheless. Story 30. When I look in the mirror and see my face, I understand that I was born because many people loved each other. Story 31. I'll always be there for you no matter what, no matter how much or how badly you may hurt me. I see the good in you, and I know that you are not a monster. I'll always be here for you, always and forever. Story 32. The most beautiful thing about me is the 2 wonderful boys I have. One thing I love about myself is how I supported my dad in his final years. It was extremely difficult. Bad news after bad news, but no matter what, no matter how hard it got, I was there for him every day. He wasn't the most affectionate man and was the strong, silent type, but I am very proud of myself for being there for him. I loved him deeply, and I know he loved me too. Whenever I said, "I love you, Dad," he wouldn't say, "I love you too." He would say, "I love you." But by far, the most beautiful thing about me is these 2 boys of mine. Story 33. Oh, I love this. I struggle with believing anyone could think I am even remotely beautiful sometimes. I have a small mole in the center of my right shoulder, and I think it is uniquely beautiful to me. Story 34. My compassion and empathy extend to everything and everyone. Although I sometimes wish I did not care so much, as it makes me feel depressed to know I cannot save every animal. Story 35. My ability to bond with animals, especially dogs, is strong. My family dogs have always come to me when they are sick, scared, or just want a nap, even when I was a kid. This continues now with my dog. Story 36. I am so full of love that it overflows into everything. I care about everything and see the best in everyone. Story 37. I am a happy-go-lucky kind of person at the foundation of my personality, always kind and trying to understand rather than judge. Takes a lot for me to even dislike people, let alone hate them. Story 38. I usually only ever read the comments, but I realized, hey, I can write something too. My calm and thoughtful spirit, that I am kind to everyone and understanding. I also really love my eyes. They are a deep blue that changes color with my mood and has yellow streaks near the pupils. Story 39. My heart, when I care about something or someone, I give it 1000%. When I falter, I try to right my wrongs. I'd say it's the best and maybe the most detrimental thing about me. I have few people who consistently reciprocate that, so I am learning to save it for those who feel the same and follow through. Story 40. Not a physical trait, but I like to think I am resilient. I fight for what I want. I plan ahead. I do not let life pass me by. I have goals for myself that I try to achieve. Story 41. I don't know that I would call it beautiful, but as I get older, I become more open-minded and non-judgmental about everything and everyone. For someone who was raised in the 1960s in a casually racist household where I never even knew that transgender people existed, I feel like I have come so far in understanding that people are people. It is nobody else's business who someone is, how they choose to live their life, and we should just mind our own business. Story 42. I have an incredibly thick beard and a handlebar mustache. I wear a sea captain's hat. The hat is not garish or comical looking. Almost every day, I receive a compliment on my hat, and many times people ask me if I am a sea captain. One time, in the supermarket, a little girl asked me if I was a pirate. Story 43. Apparently, I have the most perfect natural eyelashes. It is not really the best selling point as a mid-30s straight man, but people keep pointing it out to me. Story 44. My body. Not because she looks a certain way. I do not believe in the whole "you have to love yourself" thing that is all over social media. I have been body shamed ever since I was a kid. I have gained and lost weight due to mental and physical health struggles, and people always had something to say, even the ones closest to me. But now that I am 23, I have slowly started loving my body not for how she looks, but for what she does. She lets me walk, run, and feel things. She warns me when something is off. She has carried me through bulimia, tough health phases, breakdowns, and she is still here showing up for me. That does not mean I always love her. Some days I try on an outfit I thought would look good, and it just does not sit right. I will not lie, I still have those "I hate you" moments. But even then, deep down I know she is the reason I am alive today. For that, I will always be grateful. Story 45. I've had a non-traditional life, full of examples of how people are made into villains or develop tendencies toward cruelty. I have consistently had an inner compass that always retains the ability to navigate back to my true north, which is inherent kindness. I am hardened in many ways, vetted, but I won't hesitate to step in on someone's behalf, offer help when I have means, stay consistent in how I treat someone both when they are present and when they are not, give with no expectation of return, and practice forgiveness in situations where many might find bitterness. I remember the first time I ever realized that I was kind and was able to assign an idea to that quality in myself, which feels like a need to shield, allow, and protect others. My grandparents were very rich when I was younger, and we were very poor. As most people can recognize, getting rich requires qualities other than being kind. My grandfather fit that bill but was extremely loving to people in whom he saw qualities he respected. I was his favorite. He kept an eye on me, maybe out of curiosity, probably out of observing which qualities I possessed that could contribute to our family. He always took my mother, sister, and me out for lunch when he was in town. On one occasion, we were at a buffet. While I was getting my plate, I noticed an old man with a breathing tube and an intravenous bag standing near the breakfast waffle bar, my natural destination as a kid. I stopped about 10 feet away, looking at him, then observed the adults around, who were all passing by and ignoring him. He was shaking and looking at each person as they passed by and ignored him. I was a very shy kid, but my heart could not take what I saw. I walked up to him and asked if he needed help. He nodded through his shakes. Yes. I got closer and asked if he wanted me to get him a plate of food, and he nodded again. When I got closer, he smelled strongly of urine, but that didn't matter to me at all. I walked with him, getting each item he pointed to, then walked him back to his table, sat him down with his food, and then went back to get my waffles. When I finally sat down at our table, my grandfather was staring at me with a twinkle in his eye, and all he said was, "I saw that." Everyone always paid attention when my grandfather said things, so I took stock of myself for the first time, that tendency I had toward doing things like that. I realized I was kind. It was the first time I was ever really proud of myself. Something I've internalized. I am kind. I find that truth about myself beautiful. Story 46. I have a single little mole right in the middle of my right cheek. It is my favorite feature about myself. My hair is also stunning. When it is curled, I look like a goddess. My legs are also very curvy. It is awesome. Story 47. My inability to be angry, like at the heinous things people have done, is something I will never understand. Even as a child, I was always calm and understanding. That is the one thing I will never understand about myself, but it is pretty nice when you work with children. Story 48. I value friendships and platonic relationships. I always go above and beyond for my friends, and thankfully it is never one-sided. I work hard to keep the people I love in my life. Story 49. The first thing people often say about me is that I have a refreshing dose of agreeableness. In other words, people want to be around me because we are always having a good time with a smile on our faces, not so much because of my sense of humor, but due to the positivity that emanates from me. Story 50. I always love people where they are, for who they are, as long as they do not bring harm to me or others. I think that is beautiful and important because I know what it is like to be refused and disregarded by people I love the most. You are enough and the world is better with you in it. It is not about what can you do for me today. Story 51. My hair is long, shiny, thin, and slightly wavy. As a hairdresser, my mom always took care of my hair when I was younger, and now I do the best I can too. Story 52. My eyes and I am always drunk. I am honestly a good person, but I drink always. Dealing with younger people, I feel bad because I know they know I am always wasted. But at the end of the day, my eyes always tell no lies, and most people respect me for my honesty. Story 53. I can hear a piece of guitar music and play it back, even if it is a really difficult piece. Depending on the difficulty, it can take me a couple of hours to get it smooth. I am not a savant. Story 54. I mind if I want something or someone. I respect and support where they respect and understand me. If not, I will not stay in the current environment for a second. Story 55. I am emotionally weak. I always care that no one gets hurt because of me. I help others whenever I am able to. Story 56. I try to make everyone feel included. I always felt left out as a child and teenager, so I try to prevent that from happening to others as much as I can. Story 57. Sometimes I struggle with finding something to love about myself. I love that I am honest with people, but I have learned that most people cannot take it, and then I lose friends. Story 58. Kids think I am cool. Anytime other adults are mean, I think, wow, little Tommy said I have cool sneakers. Forget you, and move on. Story 59. I sincerely do not judge, such as when someone does not want to say something because it is bad or embarrassing. Story 60. I am lazy, but I will be thinking about the things I want to have all the time, and finally, I usually get them. However, it may take time. Lazy but persistent, that is my default setting. Story 61. I would say my ability to truly listen and make people feel acknowledged. It is something I have come to appreciate more over time by being present and genuine with others. Story 62. My heart is always open along with my mind, and I think that allows me to be kind even when facing cruelty. Story 63. Physically, perhaps I would say my eyes. On the other hand, I do not consider it nice to see life as if it did not matter. I am starting to do things that distract me from that thought, but most of the time it wins. Story 64. I find it impossible to hate and feel true anger. People say that is weak and dangerous, but I think if everyone were like that, the world would not even notice humanity's existence. Story 65. No matter what kind of negative experiences life throws at me, I refuse to let it harden my heart and make me cold. Love conquers all. Story 66. I think I am incredibly compassionate and empathetic toward other people, always trying to help. I also believe I have a nice smile when I can bring myself to do it. Story 67. I'm proud of my perseverance. Life has been tough, and I'm still here trying my best. I like to look back on my past self as having done a good job keeping the me today alive. I would never have made it this far without her, and I'm lucky I get to call her me. Story 68. Knowing what to do with the information I have. You can say wise. I am just not a huge fan of that word, and I am not sure why. I can usually stop myself from getting into things that other people can. Story 69. The unusual freckle on one of my eyes is something I have never seen on anyone else. I know it is not rare, but it is very strange. Story 70. I believe I am a good listener. I always try to hear people out on whatever they have to say, support them fully, encourage them, or just have a conversation about what they care about. I love being able to listen to many things that people share about themselves or what they relate to. Story 71. I care very much about every living thing. Bugs, plants, and every other animal, except ticks. Story 72. My eyes, because they are the same as my daughter's, and I think she is the most beautiful thing in the world. Story 73. That is a very hard question to answer. It is easy to tell another person why you think they are beautiful, but most people are very critical of themselves. If I have to choose certain features, I think the most beautiful things about myself are my dimples and freckles. That is just in the physical sense. I also think I am beautiful in how much I truly care about other people and do whatever I can to make sure they are okay. I give my all to everybody. I am very shy, so maybe other people do not necessarily see this about me, but the people closest to me see how much I care. I am a very empathetic and understanding person, which is why I am a high school teacher and have been a counselor to hundreds of students. I also think I have really pretty light brown eyes. Story 74. I've got no problems going from 0 to 100 when someone I care about is in trouble. Cannot stand a bully. Story 75. I go through it no matter what, no matter how. One day I wake up and I am over it, and I think life is beautiful. Story 76. I just asked a family member to describe me. She said my personality and my levels of compassion and empathy stand out. She noted that I will drop anything to assist anyone in need. Story 77. In my teens, I had very thick, wavy hair and full lips. I hated it at the time because the look was model Cheryl Tiegs. Straight hair and thinner lips. At 65, I still have a full head of thick, silver white hair and naturally full lips. Happily. Story 78. The fact that I can pacify just about any baby or small child. Whenever I hear one crying, I like to joke to my wife, I must go, my people need me. I have calmed down a few upset babies and kids when their parents and other adults could not figure it out. These are always situations where I know the parents. I am almost certain I could go up to a screaming child I do not know in public and calm them down, but it would be very awkward if I were a woman, young, and good-looking. I am 0 for 3 on that. Story 79. I'm told I write beautifully. It is the only creative thing I am good at, largely due to having no visual imagination. I am not capable of expressing emotion in the moment. It all comes through in my writing. Story 80. I always try to see the good in people. Even those who hurt you are probably struggling themselves. Story 81. I cannot say no even if it is difficult or uncomfortable. I will always help. However, this is not beneficial for me. Story 82. What I really love about myself is that I am very fast. It only takes me 2 hours to completely clean the house and prepare dinner. I do not understand people who spend a whole day on this and still do not manage to get everything done. Story 83. Physically, my eyes are hazel and the only feature I do not feel insecure about. Otherwise, I would say I am pretty resilient. I have some chronic conditions that seem to be constantly deteriorating, but I am still enjoying life to the best of my abilities. I just saw one of my favorite bands last night and had a great time. Story 84. I have very blue eyes. Many people think I am wearing colored contacts, but I am not. If I receive any other compliments, I might not believe them, but if you compliment my eyes, I believe you mean it. Story 85. I am really good at expressing myself in words. I can honestly say I am a genuinely good person and care for strangers, especially the poor and the needy. Story 86. My capacity. That's the only way to phrase it. In my 20s, as I explored the idea of polyamory, I talked with my therapist and realized that I didn't think a single human being could be my everything. I want a person to nerd out over bees and ants with, a person who wants to watch television with me, a person who enjoys fine dining and is willing to spend $250 on a Michelin-starred meal every year, a person who can go on a trip out of town and let me meticulously plan everything, a person who will show up and change a tire or serpentine belt for me at 3 a.m., a person who can have a deep conversation in the middle of the night, a person who only tells me the truth and is authentic with everyone else, a person who wants to hook up and never calls for any other reason, a person who checks on me when I'm going through drama with a family member. It seemed to me that with my varied interests, negative opinions on people who seek some form of ownership out of their romances, maybe it was preposterous to put all 3 of my personalities and all 10,000 of my interests, exaggerated by about 100, onto one other person, which would be wildly unacceptable. Over time, I didn't stick with the polyamory, but I definitely grew to recognize that I needed and preferred a life filled with 4 or 5 close people who overlap a few interests and have nothing in common in other areas. A friend for shopping, a friend for travel, a friend for nights at home, and a friend for later nights. I just don't ever seek to find everything I am in one person, but something I am in each person, and it has opened me up. I no longer think of love as a video game stat that can only hold 10 blocks. I think of it as infinite. I can love endlessly, and I try to love specifically as well. But it isn't limited, and I don't want it to be, and it takes nothing away from Adam when I decide to spend a day with Eve. I very much reject jealousy and try my best not to engage in it either. Go have a life. I'll do the same. See you when I see you. This lifestyle makes me quick to apologize and be blunt. Oh, sorry. I didn't realize you were still waiting on plans for that weekend. I'm going out with Steve that night and don't want to overbook myself. But I do remember we were making plans, and I'm still down to nail down an evening just for you. When you take accountability, you avoid hurt feelings. And when someone says I hurt their feelings, I avoid deflecting and offer solutions and follow through. It's a little bit of valuable and incredibly worthwhile work, but I have few regrets. Story 87. I think I am pretty nice and gentle with a warm smile. I am willing to listen to understand, not to respond or judge. When bipolar disorder and depression occur, that changes, and I feel sorry for whoever is in my path when I switch. Story 88. I used to loathe the fact that I felt disconnected from everyone and could not make friends. But now I embrace and love my solitude. Story 89. Being able to see through other perspectives. I was honestly flabbergasted when I realized that this is something that not many people do. Story 90. I learned computer skills quickly and might become an expert soon. I took a test and it said that I am above average. Story 91. My ability to love with my entire soul and being, which can sometimes be exploited by people, but I am learning to stand up for myself in that regard. My ability to see the magic in every little thing. Also, being able to find humor in everything, even if it is deadly serious. Story 92. My eyes and nose. My friend literally took a picture of my nose and asked the surgeon to do the same. Now she is botched. Story 93. Physically, it is between my hair and my labia. Regarding my character, I like how positive and cheerful I am. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.